Don't eat like an asshole. The slides that follow will cover the core principles of nutrition. Don't skip breakfast. This might be the most important item on the list. Whether you train early or late, you need to fuel your body. Skipping breakfast is not the way to set yourself up for success. If you're trying to build muscle or shed excess body fat, you've got to eat. Now, I know it might sound counterintuitive, but that's just the truth. Maybe you struggle with overeating later in the day. If that's the case, even eating a small breakfast can help curb that. If you're not used to eating breakfast, this might be a little uncomfortable. Then again, uncomfortable is why you're here. Next, make sure you're eating real food. Animals, plants, fruits, nuts, they all have pretty much one ingredient. Steak is steak. A tomato is a tomato. An apple is an apple. Simple is better. That doesn't mean that you can't have an occasional cheeseburger and a beer, but you should always prioritize simple, real, whole foods. Number 3, eat with intention, not emotion. Your body needs fuel, especially now that you're making a dedicated effort to gain muscle or lose unwanted body fat. Whether it's work, training, or life, food is fuel, plain and simple. One of the main reasons I don't like diets is because they tend to present food as good and bad, which can lead us to think of food as a reward, or that making bad choices should lead to a feeling of guilt. Food is what you need to survive. Lastly, be aware of grazing and snacking without really thinking about it. Be mindful of not just what you're eating, but why. The 4th principle is reducing unnecessary sugar intake. I'll start by saying this. I am not advocating for you to remove all sugar from your diet permanently. I think that's a surefire way to set yourself up for failure in the long run, and a potential for a rebound in weight gain. What I am saying, though, is that it's a very good idea to understand which foods you're eating regularly contain excess amounts of added sugar. Maybe you drink 4 sodas a day. Start by reducing that. If you go from 4 per day to 2, it'll make a world of difference. Now, it'll take time to make this a new habit, but if you start slowly, it will happen, and you'll be able to maintain it. Also, as you eat more real foods, you'll reduce the amount of sugar intake that typically comes with processed foods, or those you'll find in restaurants. Carbs are good. You need them. Even sugar has its place in a sustainable diet, but it's about where it comes from and how much you're consuming. The last principle I want to cover is to prepare, but also have a backup plan. Pretty sure it was Mike Tyson who once said, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. Plan as much as you want, and you could still be sitting down for lunch with clients at a restaurant you didn't prepare for. I recommend checking the menu in advance if you know where you're going. But if you don't have a chance to do that, make the healthiest decision you can. And you can always ask your server to split your meal in 2 and put half in a container to take home. At least with that, you'll only be eating half a cheeseburger and French fries instead of the whole thing. Also, pack some healthy snacks in case shit hits the fan. Keep them in your car just in case you get caught away from food or you're running behind. The best way, though, is to prep your meals in advance or pay someone to do it for you. That's going to be the best way to stay on point. As a quick side note, before I wrap this up, please know that there are many other principles that we can draw from. These are just my top 5. We can build from here. The first step in creating new habits is to identify which habits you have now that need to be reevaluated. The answers aren't on the previous slides, but they will help you design the path to the changes that will last long after this program is complete.